Well, you got one of them Maxxforce 13s and you want to put it on weight reduction, you know, get rid of the governmental babysitters and using more fuel to be more emissions friendly. Makes all the sense in the world, right? Well, follow along. So to get started, this is all you need to take out. So you got your scuff panel here, the center console, the two kick panels on the driver's side over there, the fuse panel cover and the kick panel here, and there's another one that goes here, the shifter, and the driver or the passenger seat. When I originally did this, you'll see I also had the driver's seat out as well. It gave a lot more room, allowed me to clean up the floor pan and stuff as well. So we'll get into it. Got a few different clips here, some stuff you'll need to know, and some helpful hints and stuff when the dealer doesn't want to give you the information you need. So follow along. Got any questions, ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them up. Found this little jewel. Show you where it goes here. So this is the EGR valve off the truck. It looks like a little 2-barrel carburetor. One butterfly. Oh, that one's missing. Shit. And it's stuck pretty good regardless. Little bit of damage to the EGR cooler there from that butterfly breaking, but it doesn't matter. Valve's not going back on. If you know, you know. It must have been a good day, as I got all the exhaust bolts out as part of this without breaking one. So that's pretty good. And get her back on the road here after we take a little vacation break and get the ECM tuned up while we're gone. Pulled this little jewel off too, because I'm a firm believer it'll work a hell of a lot better sitting over there behind the tractors. But we got that going. Hey there everybody. So I got the block off plates installed today and decided to put an exhaust gas temp gauge in, since I have the hole right up there. I'm having the power and torque turned up significantly, so I wanted to keep a good eye on it, and from being in a performance background, that's just always a good thing to do. I got my parts from VP Parts Unlimited out of Seattle, so get that. And I bought 2 sets for the exhaust, and I'll show you what I did. With some slight modifications, you can put the other 2 there and just leave these hoses in stock. It was actually pretty easy to do. Only took me about 15 minutes to get both of them modded up and installed. No big deal there. I'll go to the other side. I've seen what other guys have been struggling with a coolant line, and I'll show you what I did for that. So it is this fitting here. There's a line that runs out of here, goes back to the EGR valve, and then there's a return line from the EGR valve, which is actually this hose here, that runs down and goes right back into the coolant tank. So I've seen guys, you know, trying to pinch these off, cap them, and do other things, but really just remove the hard section of line. And this is a 2-piece collar, so you just loosen it, position it where you want, and then tighten this right here, and then it's just out of there straight to the coolant tank. Nothing to worry about there. So really, the ECM will be back tomorrow, and we'll start it and see what happens, and I'll show you what I did on the exhaust at that point. So for now, I'm going to put the water manifold back in place and get my gauge mounted up there in the dash, and that's about all I can do for today. So we'll get back at you when everything is in. Wanted to mention this before I put this manifold back together. Here on the driver's side of the truck, there's little sleeves that fit inside these the sealing ports here when you put the manifold back on. Here's the one out of the little one. Just make sure you don't lose those, because it will leak like crazy. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. This one up here is just a big O-ring, so it's not super important, but definitely those 2 down there. And it's just a press fit that seals up, so you definitely want to have those in there. Alright, so we got the water manifold back in, got the hoses hooked up. This one goes down to the doser valve, which is really the only piece of the emissions that's staying on. Got the fuel line back up. If you happen to drop or misplace one of these spacers, Home Depot's a good place to get them. They're a couple bucks. They've got all different sizes that'll get you up and squared. Just don't leave fuel lines loose and rattling around. That never ends well. And a note on this water manifold: don't try to put the top in first. Don't try to put the bottom in down there first. Just kind of set it up in place nice and even. Use this bolt here and this stud here, and just take your turn and just rock it into place with those, and it'll snap right in. Don't try to get overzealous with it. So really, that's all I can do. I'm not going to do anything to the exhaust until I know the tuning is all good and it runs like it should. So I'm going to take this piece off up here and go in the house and get my gauge mounted. I'll do a little bit on that as well. Been waiting all day like a kid waiting on Santa Claus, but it finally made it. Oh, look at all that bubble wrap. Lots of bubble wrap. More bubble wrap. There it is. There it is. Hey, pull that off. Woo! Looks exactly like it did when I sent it to him. Oh well, as long as the innards are all better, we'll be happy. Time to go find out. Good morning there, everybody. Well, as you just saw, that exhaust manifold is cracked there right behind cylinder 5 port. So talked to a few international techs and done some reading on the forums and stuff, and even the upgraded flange that International makes will fit into the old center section, so we can do this piece without touching the turbos and everything. Warranty work pays 2.3 hours to do it, which is not enough, but regardless. So the coolant line to the doser valve needs to be removed. Obviously, if your EGR valve and stuff is here, you're going to have to remove the EGR valve and the up pipes to the EGR valve. And so I'm going to have to get that blocker plate out of the way for the exhaust temp probe, and we'll get her taken apart. Those bolts are external Torx or inverted Torx. Here's the size. That's what it looks like there. So I'm gonna start getting it taken apart, and we will go from there, and I'll be back with you shortly. Right there, so the top 4 came out pretty easy. The bottom 2 down there being stubborn, which is pretty normal. So we're going to put some heat to them, see if we can't get them to let go. Got that one there and that one there, and so put some heat to them and see what we get. Alright, well, a little bit of heat persistence and a 1/2-inch impact. We got the bottom one out on the front there, currently heating up the cylinder 5 bottom one, and we will see if we can get that one off. Not a ton of fun, but we are hopefully going to succeed. And once it's off, I will let you know of any pains I have of separating them or anything like that. I'll be back at you. Alright, with a little heat and a good sized flexible head ratchet, we were able to get the bottom one out down there without breaking it. So, as you can see now, she's loose. I'll wiggle it around, tap it out, whatever I got to do, and I'll let you guys know what I had to do to get it out, and we'll go from there. And just like that, just give her a good wiggle and a pull, she comes right out. Now, International recommends just steam to clean up the ports there where the gaskets go. No abrasive pads or nothing. And here's what it looks like right here. It's kind of warm. You got your sealing rings there on the end. There's 4 per groove. Come on, focus. 4 per groove. And that's it. You can see the crack there. Pretty good. Right around in there where all the soot is at. So, I'm hoping International has it in stock here at my local dealer. And I'll walk you through any hiccups I run into putting it back on. Stay tuned. So they didn't want to sell Amy the new part. She had to convince him. But I know a couple International techs and they told me it'll fit. Exact same diameter or the exact same height. The only difference is the flange thickness. That's the only difference on the whole piece. Trying to tell me I had to buy a whole frickin' exhaust manifold kit $3,000 later. I don't think so. Alright guys, getting this thing ready to go back on. I am going to make my own gaskets. I'll do a little bit of the video on that as well, out of some copper sheeting. But the fairings, these little doodads here, there's 8 of them in a kit. They're $132. Yeah, tell me about it. Anyways, you want to put them on and you want to position your gap in them around. So you got 4 rings in each groove and you want to have a gap basically every 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Just work your way around. That way the gaps aren't in the same place and it'll seal up like it's supposed to. And other than that, we're going to get it put on. There's the only difference is that flange thickness between the old one. International said it wouldn't work. I know a few techs that say it will work and we're going to go with it. Stay tuned. Well, I told y'all I would show you what I did with the exhaust. So, yeah, that's a stainless steel piece. It was super cheap on Amazon, so I got it. To a 90 there, pointed at the ground. I'm using that exhaust hanger there with 2 rubber donuts to support the weight. And up there, I just cut the flange off at another 90 to come out. Pretty simple design. And it'll definitely do the job. Just a little pull on the flat ground here. Pulling up Charles Hill, 2 miles at 10%, 9th gear. Something like that on the boost there. Got up to about 1250 on the pyro. Well, hey there guys. Just got back from a good 5,000 mile round on her. Went over to Wisconsin, down to southern Texas, back up to the Pacific Northwest, and across Washington to home. And a few problems I ran into. The first one, so this is an O-ring boss fitting. Right, there we go, it focused. And it's leaking a little bit there, as you can see, and losing some coolant there. And then the other issue is I blew the gasket out of that one behind the backing plate, or behind the block off plate. And So what I did is I got the original pipes and I just cut the flanges off. I'm going to do the same here. That's what this one's for. And I got that one back there done. I'm hoping that'll create a more equal sealing surface since these flanges are actually pretty thick. So I'm going to go with that. And also on this coolant manifold here, the two pipe extensions there called down there are they leaked pretty good, so I had to fix that. And I'll show you all the part numbers and stuff here. And my local dealer, those bastards, told me you cannot get just the bolt and sealing kit and stuff for this rear thicker flange, but as you see, the flange fits just fine. And you can't buy just two gaskets, you got to buy the whole kit. That's what they told me. I'll show you the part numbers and stuff. I found a parts dealer down in Los Angeles and they were able to help me out quite a bit. So hang on just a second and I'll show you those. Alright guys, so as it says right there, rear exhaust manifold seal, thicker flange. That is an updated superseded part number. And I'll show you everything it comes with here. There's everything it comes with. So you got your spacers, your new bolts, and you'll notice the new bolts are just regular hexagon. You get the clamps there and the seal. That's for the where the rear section slides into the front section. It helps seal it up. I'm not having any problems with it, but since it's coming, I will use it. And you get some more bolts there and the manifold gaskets. Remember, my local dealer, RWC, said that you couldn't buy this. It's not available. That's the company name right there. They're online, and they're very helpful, very friendly, and their prices are also better too. So if you need parts, this is where I would go. And then here's this here for they're called extension tubes, and if you notice, there's two the same size. One is for the upper right and then the lower left, and then the smaller one is for the upper left where it goes together. And there is the prices right there. They are kind of spendy, but when you got good ones in your hand, brand new ones, you'll know how they work and everything else. There is the part numbers that you'll need for that. They're what they call them. So thank y'all for following along. I hope I was able to help you out. If you have any questions, post them below. I try to keep up on all that. And I'm going to go back out in the rain here and get it back together. Got some local work lined up for the next 10 to 12 days. So everybody stay safe out there, and we will chat at you later. Thanks.